Sorry, I wasn't listening there.
Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Keegan and Cary's Movie Swap. I'm Cary Edwards, and I am joined as ever by...
Keegan and Cartwright. We're back again, baby. We're back to talk about films.
We are. Like a bad smell, we have returned. And today's episode is comparing two movies, contrasting two movies that are both basically the nighttime pursuits of very hairy men. We're talking in the world of lycanthropy, technical term. We've got Wolf from the 90s and my selection, and I'm very proud of this selection, Wolfcop, which we will come to. I think we will start with Wolf in a second, and for those who don't know, the basic premise of this podcast is we choose a movie the other person hasn't seen or hasn't seen for a long time, and we make them watch it, and then we have some opinions. Wolf, you brought to the table... But that was more out of just your sheer interest, wasn't it?
It was. I saw this back in December last year, and after I watched it, I went, I could not stop thinking about it for hours. And then hours became days, and then days became weeks, and then weeks became months. And I spoke to Cary in his office, and I went, I watched Wolf the other day. I went, oh yeah, I watched that in the cinema. I remember the scene.
So. Well, yeah. Which scene did I remember?
The scene where Jack Nicholson pisses on James Spader, which is in the trailer.
I think I went to the cinema in 1994 to watch this movie, and the only thing I can remember is him pissing on his shoes.
It's in the trailer.
And it's a good scene, and it's in the trailer.
I'm marking
So
my
it was
territory.
interesting to rewatch this. Can you summarise the plot of Wolf?
Well, the plot is about Will Randall, who's like this aging, works in a publishing house, and he gets bitten one day. He gets bitten by a wolf driving home, and he slowly turns into a wolf. He can hear things clearly. He doesn't have to wear glasses anymore.
His hair grows back.
Yeah, he wears a
He gets
syrup.
virile.
He wears a toupee. I'm surprised he didn't have that moment like in Teen Wolf where he grabs like a hair from his chest and goes.
Yes, it is. It's a really interesting parallel. And this is kind of like a mid. It's for know what this
crisis.
Reminded me of Falling Down in an odd way, in the sense that it's a midlife crisis movie, and this guy, and it turns out his wife is being banged by his assistant, his protege, and then he loses his job to his protege. But then, via the power of wolf bite,
powers, yes.
he gets his job back. He starts banging Michelle Pfeiffer.
He gets a 4-4 terrier, and he gets confident. He also gets a chance to have a bit of rumpy pumpy.
He does get
with
some
his
rumpy
wife.
pumpy. Oh yes, with his wife, and then with Michelle Pfeiffer. But his wife, we dump her.
Fair play to her.
Him. Why did it stick in your head? Because clearly it didn't. In 1994, this film did not stick in my head.
I discovered this movie through like a channel called Raventhorn Productions, and I was fascinated by Wolf, a movie by Mike Nichols of The Graduate fame, known for doing dramas Closer.
I mean, Mike Nichols,
Morricone,
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Working Girl.
You've got a cinematographer and editor from a lot of his movies. This feels like a movie
it has a
he wasn't
pedigree.
comfortable with. Like a lot of like power with him, so he can be comfortable making this movie. There's just elements of it, like the score by Morricone. It's very dreamlike. That piano tension I've not got away from.
I do like the score,
and that plays at the end of the film. And I was like, oh my god, I cannot stop thinking about this. Like Jack Nicholson pissing on James Spader, David Schwimmer.
David Schwimmer, yes, he is. He's a cop, very briefly,
and just it's a different angle on the werewolf genre, because we usually focus it around young men. Like I'm thinking American Werewolf in London. I'm thinking Wolfman.
Yeah.
Wolf.
Rick Baker did the effects for this.
He did.
And he did The Howling, I think, didn't he?
He did The Howling. He did Thriller.
Yeah.
He did American Werewolf in London, which plays a part in one of my disappointments with the design of this film. But
let's talk about it now, because I think one of the main things you look for in a werewolf movie is the transformation sequence.
Yeah.
Where, you go back and watch Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. to do it through like Dissolves. 40s, But ever since American Werewolf in London,
which is still great, guys.
Which is
Check
still
it
great.
Out.
And it's probably still the high point of transformation scenes. That becomes the focus. And there's a great one in The Howling. I don't really get one. I was like, where's my transformation?
You get one in the climax because
sort of.
But the one of the things this movie does, guys, is that Jack Nicholson doesn't really turn into a full wolf. They kind of give him the claws and the little bit of the sideburns, like Wolverine.
He gets toothy and he gets hairy.
He
does look very Wolverine.
Yeah,
actually,
it's very, very slow transformation into the wolf, and that happens like throughout the movie. And we kind of get a full-on Wolverine, wolf-looking Jack Nicholson at the end.
Yeah,
and he looks cool. He looks cool. He's got the eye contacts in. He looks crazy. He looks scary. Then you've got James Spader in this.
Yeah,
who
he's
has
the protege character.
Who gets that transformation like just like that.
Yeah.
And he looks more werewolf-like than Nicholson does, actually.
Yeah, he
in
does.
cases.
We
It's
end up
that, it's that James Spader
with
stare.
2 wolf men having a wolf off or whatever at the end in the finale.
Which is probably the most Hollywood thing about it, really.
When I watched this, I thought, I don't hate it or anything. I just think it doesn't work. And I think that's because it doesn't really know what it is as a movie.
Yeah, because it's part romantic movie with Michelle Pfeiffer
Which
and
is
Jack Nicholson.
probably the worst bit, I think. But not
it's
because of the
part
actors, though.
satire and,
And the satire's good fun.
And then it's a werewolf movie with guy from East Disease. Who was
Puri.
Yeah. It was a late addition to this movie. They didn't have that character in this script, which is really bizarre because how would this character figure out, the werewolf mythology? Or you need that scene.
He just knows it.
You need that scene with like the character explaining it all, that could easily come across as bullet point or
it's
like
a
really
movie that
boring.
feels like there was a script and then there was some more writers.
Yeah,
and nobody ever the tone is never settled.
Yeah, this was written by like a guy called Jim Harrison who had like kind of a similar experience Jack Nicholson had, where he bumped into a wolf and he woke up one night going, I kind of got hairy arms and all that, like. And then Douglas Wick, the producer of this, went, that could be a movie, and he made it into a movie. Okay. Douglas Wick produced, we mentioned Spice World the other week, the 2003 Peter Pan film of all films. Yes,
okay. All right.
And that like got rewritten by another guy, Wesley Strick,
who did Batman Returns.
Yeah,
I think.
did revisions on that, and then it got rewritten by the person who made Ishtar.
Let's not Elaine May. Yes, she made Ishtar. She did a lot of good stuff before Ishtar. She did this after Ishtar, and this is it's interesting because I think the corporate satire, and shout out for the Bradbury Building, which is the publishing office, which you'll know from Blade
Runner. Which is cool. I didn't know until the documentary.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
cool. As soon as I saw that, I said I know that building. It's in a few other movies and TV shows because it's in LA and people love shooting there because it's cool. The film's set in New York. The corporate stuff's really good fun. The horror, Morricone thinks he's scoring a horror. I'm not sure there's that much horror in the movie.
They talk about that, like he scored it like it was a dream, and then the test audience was like, "There's not a lot of scary punches in it." So they had those like cues in just to kind of push the horror. And it's not a horror film.
There's a couple of jumps maybe, but it's not a horror movie.
No.
But then at times it feels like it's trying to be, but it isn't a proper one. If you're looking for a transformation movie that's really slow and interesting and has a romance in it, go and watch Cronenberg's The Fly, which is brilliant and disgusting and foul and sad and all these sorts of things. This feels a bit milquetoast. And I don't know if that's because of star power, because of effects. I think the romance is undercooked. I think Pfeiffer's fine, but her character feels a lot younger than her. Yeah, I don't think you can have a younger actress because then the age gap with Nicholson would be really
There's a 21-year age
brutal.
gap between these actors, and this is a reunion for these two because they were in Witches of Eastwick along with Richard Jenkins, who pops up in the third act.
He does. You may know him as the dad and step brothers.
Yes, and we do. And Sea of Love as well, the erotic thriller.
Sea of Love?
Yeah, because he has a fight with Pacino in that film.
Sea of Love. That's that's a film. There are some of the transformation stuff is really good fun, and actually when it's subtler and it's just sort of making him stronger, almost like a superhero actually.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man is a similar concept.
Really. I had Spider-Man thinking this because he has that moment where he just becomes like the animal when he's like walking around and like inhabiting what he's doing.
And I think those bits are kind of cool. I think it goes off the rails once he starts roaming around New York at night, biting people's fingers off.
And going, I've got $1,000 in my cash, in my wallet.
We all went a bit Death Wish, and we did Death Wish the other week, and it was like, I recognise that bridge from I think Death Wish, one of the Death Wishes anyway. And so, again, like I say, it's sort of shifted gear. And then finally Spader, who, for reasons Nicholson bit on the hand earlier in the movie.
Yeah, which you kind of forget about. First time I viewed this, I was like, why does he transform again?
Yeah, but he does get bitten,
but it's not, there's no close-up shot of his hand, so you kind of go,
no, I think they're trying not to flag it up too obviously, so it's a surprise, but maybe they don't flag it up enough. Yeah. Spader's good fun. I mean, he's a terrific greasy toadying up to Christopher Plummer's executive. And then when he turns into a really horny werewolf at the end, he's really funny.
I have 2 points of that. One is, I don't think we, signpost that transformation enough. He spends a lot of it like still being like.
He
the
does
Project
suddenly
Will.
turn up with different
I
contact
think
lenses
the
on,
only
and you're like,
time
oh,
they
hello.
do that is when they get the report that the wife's dead, like Will's wife is dead, and
Yes.
he's hiding in shadow. When that's kind of cool. You're kind of showing that duality
Yeah.
between darkness and light. Something's going down here, and then he pops up in wolf effects with his glasses, and everyone goes like, he looks normal, and I'm just thinking, to use my Mr. Plinkett voice, what's wrong with your face?
There is something that. I mean, he's good fun. He's good fun. Look, I think everybody acts perfectly well. I think it's kind of obvious to make Nicholson a werewolf, but I think he's maybe a bit old. And
Yeah, but I think that works for this movie because it's playing on because it makes
Yeah,
him
but
youthful.
I'm not sure I buy Nicholson as a sad middle-aged man. It's Jack Nicholson, baby.
I don't know why I buy it.
He's far too cool.
I don't know. I never saw Jack Nicholson as really cool per se. I don't know.
What?
I think it's because I'm so.
You haven't
used
watched enough movies.
Well,
my
I watched The
friend.
Shining and
Okay, yeah, but I'm crazy. But stars bring baggage, don't they? And I think the idea that
I understand that.
it didn't work for me in that period. This is a Few Good Men period, and where he's having these sort of bit parts are really cool.
And it was post like Batman, where like
Post Batman,
running away with the money.
I mean, yeah, I made 90 million or something off Batman. He
much.
took points. He got merchandise slice.
Yeah,
He's an incredibly powerful star at this point. It's interesting he
2 Oscars at
chose
that
this.
point, yeah.
I found the production design on this problematic. A couple of things. A lot of
Quite
it
much.
looks like a set.
Yeah,
Pfeiffer's house, whatever it is, on the estate of a rich father, just looks like a set. But not in a way that's stagey and interesting. And I do wonder, did Coppola's Dracula came out before this? 92?
it did 1992, and I was thinking
And there was a
about
mini
that.
gothic,
Because I think that was one of the reasons why I felt,
period.
because there was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Kenneth Branagh,
which is I like to think of as shouty Frankenstein.
and even though it's not like the Universal Monsters, there was Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
yes, yeah, that which is a mess.
Yeah.
And then this is the Wolfman movie.
Yeah. And there's other one things as well. I think that's one of the reasons why I felt, because like Bram Stoker's Dracula is sexy and it's cool.
It is a
You know,
horny
One
movie.
of those horniest
Thanks,
movies
it
ever.
is
You
one
got
of the-
Sadie Frost.
It is horny
walking around
Dracula.
that
It is
film,
an amazing
going to
film.
Quincy.
But it's also really weird and artificial and fun, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's part of that film because Coppola wanted to push like old school effects,
Yeah.
and it looks beautiful. Like every frame in that is stunning.
It is.
I'm in
it is.
awe
For
every
everything
time I
that
watch
doesn't
film.
work, there's a ton of things that work in that movie. Yeah.
But then you got Wolf that plays it back to reality. It's all very like.
But yeah, at some
present
point,
New York.
it kind of wants to be grounded, but at the same time, it's kind of just too silly to be grounded. Is there a giant artificial Jack Nicholson head in this? There's a scene where there's a close-up on him, and his ears are twitching, and his eyes, and I'm like, is that a massive Jack Nicholson?
In order
fake
to
head?
get that effect, they put like Rick Baker put like some radio thing in his effect so he can.
Oh, is
give
that what
the
it is? So
ears-
it's actually Nicholson.
They did it with Spader as well, but it was
I
less
thought
effective.
it was fake. I was looking at that.
No,
thing,
that-
but then it looked fake.
Yeah. I mean, and regarding like Universal Monsters, we had The Mummy, but that's not a horror film. That's genre change all
That
the way
comes
through as
later,
well.
but yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I said there was that period of like just making monster movies.
Well, it's just like IP and what have we got sat around? Okay, we can. Yeah, nobody's done this for a while.
Yeah, nobody's like touched on a wolf movie in quite a while. Even American Werewolf in London came out in what 81.
82,
80,
81, 82. We're not going to talk about American Werewolf in Paris today. And
I mean,
maybe
that was
probably
years
never.
later. Unless we find a
It's
copy.
just really bad movie. So it's kind of an interesting movie, but it's a movie that, like I say, the tone doesn't work. The characterization, particularly in that romantic relationship, is lacking. The end is quite good fun. The actual final fight I did enjoy.
It reminded me a lot of the whole process of this. Mike Nichols dealing with a movie like he kind of never done before. Ang Lee's Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a guy who's known for like doing these kind of movies, Oscar prestigious movies. He takes on this movie, brings all this caliber of actors like Nicholson, Nick Nolte, and it ends in this big Hollywood kind of fight that doesn't kind of fit the movie. But again, how do you end
they
this movie?
reshot the ending a bit, didn't
A
they?
little bit. The original ending had Michelle Pfeiffer on a helicopter meeting up with Jack Nicholson as a wolf, and the testimonies felt it was too corny, and eventually changed it to.
I mean, the ending they do have is pretty corny.
I actually kind of like the ending. It's that score, man. It's that
The
score.
score, yeah, but
Michelle Pfeiffer's
Morricone's always brilliant.
eyes like coming in, and then you got the Steadicam shot of it going through the
You
forest.
know what?
Jack Nicholson's
But
eyes
the
superimposed
wolf
on the
that
wolf.
you see at the end,
Yeah.
and that's at the start, is so fake.
Yes,
That
it is. It
what-
is.
I mean, surely they could have just got a dog,
The close
put some shit on the dog, and film the dog.
look. Dogs don't look like dogs on film. You gotta use cows.
Is that what it is? Because they don't look like a fucking wolf.
No,
it looks like a Muppet wolf.
I know which shot you're thinking of. It's the shot where it's got fucking bright eyes,
Yeah,
and
and it's
a
clearly a
medium shot,
puppet.
and then you get the wide shot where all the wolves come out. And that's more effective because
But you
they've
actually,
got more wolves.
really good werewolf movie to watch is Company of Wolves. By
I
Neil
put that in my
Jordan.
notes because
That looks good. Have
Yeah.
you seen a Company of
I
Wolves?
haven't.
Okay, I've got it at home. we will return to the lycanthropic topics at some point. Yeah, I mean it's competent in the sense that everybody involved is good. It just never gels. And how was it successful? It made some money.
It
but
made
not
some
a
money,
lot.
but it was cost a lot to make, and
Well, it's
marketing, of course.
probably because Nicholson cost a lot.
Yeah, with star power and test audiences because they were going to. They were originally going to release this in '93 into Christmas time, and then test audiences happened and went, "Yeah, we got to change it a little bit this
Wow.
round."
But
Let's get a big shot of Jack Nicholson getting out of the cage at the end. Went, yeah.
Oh yeah, leap in and yeah, and look, there is this sort of romantic sacrifice at the ending, which
I
is a
love that
nice idea. I just don't think the movie with their relationship gets there. They fall in love too quickly. I don't buy Pfeiffer's character, and that's not her fault.
And as an
I just
isolated
don't think
moment, it's really
well
wonderful.
written.
You got Jack Nicholson, like pretty much how nearly fully turned, and he looked at him at Michelle Pfeiffer and went, "This is a beautiful moment between the two."
Yeah, I just don't think it was very earned. I think the idea is good, and look, Wolfman movies and monster movies are often romantic and
Beauty and the Beast.
bittersweet.
Yeah, and all that.
And actually, if you go back and watch the Lon Chaney Wolfman, the original Universal, ignore the sequels, there is a heavy element of sadness about that because it's a curse, and they do play with that. But I kind of like, I'd have more fun either really lean into that and make it a bit more goofy horror, or completely get out of it and make it real.
Yes,
This movie tries to have it both ways, and for me that means it
doesn't-
doesn't do either way.
It's got 3 lanes and it doesn't quite pick the lane that it wants to go with.
No.
I don't know. I found it endlessly fascinating. I gave it a 4. I'm just endlessly fascinated by the
madman.
ideas. I know. Maybe I'm too generous.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm fascinated by because this is a different kind of werewolf movie.
It is different, and
You know,
look, you
the
know,
animal is
we
out.
criticise Hollywood and filmmakers for doing the same old shit. This is at least trying to do
I
something.
said it's
interesting.
by an auteur,
Yeah.
like Ang Lee, auteurs, like doing something
Yeah.
that they weren't comfortable doing, and it's got some reappraisal over the years. Like I'm just too fascinated by this movie to hate it.
Well, look, this was a big budget A-list movie. We move now to the opposite end of the spectrum. 77 minutes of prime Canadian B movie,
Hey.
Wolfcop. I could describe the plot of Wolfcop to you, but you know what the plot of Wolfcop is
Take the
mostly.
stand. Take the
There's
stand.
a cop, and he turns into a wolf cop. I think. Look, this is cheap. It's silly. I just think it's a lot of fun.
He knows what it
and
is.
It does know what it is. It's not trying to impress you. It has no subplots. It has no subtext. There's a loser cop called Lougarou.
On the nose.
Werewolf,
French for werewolf.
He lives.
I'm surprised they don't name drop that name. So
Yeah,
much more.
and there are a lot of live references. He lives in this hick town in Canada. He's having nightmares about some sort of satanic ritual. Turns out he's been turned into a werewolf so he can then be sacrificed so the shape-shifting lizard people who run the town can live forever. Great.
And why a small town, guys? Why not anywhere else? You know, they do question that in the
Yeah,
script.
well, they do. It's because they had no money and they liked being in Saskatchewan in Canada, basically, because some of them are from there. But I like this movie, one, because it's funny, it's inventive, and for a cheap movie, the makeup effects by a guy called Emerson Ziffel are really
good.
really
and I was
good.
very surprised that the actor was so game to do this.
He
Who
was.
looks like a mix of Will Peterson and Andrew Lincoln, was game enough to do the effects. I went, that's cool. Dedication.
It is. The production of the movie is really interesting. Is basically the guys made a trailer and
Yes, they did.
They then bid basically for funding, having to prove crowd demand. So they basically shot their movie around festivals to get people interested, did posters, did the trailer, got the funding, then made the movie that they said they were going to
through
make.
that, they discovered the look of the film, the werewolf.
Yeah.
The werewolf design's a little bit different, but they
It
finalised
evolves.
a lot of it before they shot this movie in 17 days.
In 17 days, they built a model barn that they blow up. But it's... I mean, there's jokes, there's fun. It's on the note. I mean, there's a shop called Liquor Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Which is...
There's even a reference to
I
Teen
found
Wolf,
amusing.
which some audiences may be wondering, why do we got a copy of Teen Wolf here? It's because the
Teen
author
Wolf
of
2.
the author. Well,
Yeah, move on from Teen Wolf 2.
Well, there's a reference to the best friend of that film, Styles. It's the auto repair shop in this film. It's called Styles.
There you go. And there are lots of little things in the... and, you know, there's a lot of love and care that's gone into this movie to try and elevate it. The performances are solid, not all perfect, but they're solid. The jokes land, but it's the special effects, and this has the most inventive werewolf transformation sequence.
Oh, I love the idea
on
of
the
the fact
planet.
that the werewolf transformation is him coming out like a second skin. That's
It
beautiful.
is. And I may use some words now, ladies and gents, that you may not want to hear. But Lou Guru, our cop lead, is going to the urinal, and in close-up, we see the transformation start from the penis.
From his Johnson.
From his Johnson.
His pecker.
And it's kind of, I'm not going to describe it anymore because I can't, because you have to see it. It's like the Matrix, it needs to be seen.
See to believe.
It does. And then, but yes, absolutely, he sheds his skin, which is really funny in later scene because people find bits of his skin. They find his face.
Oh, yeah. And
it kind of looks like you.
Yeah,
Well,
like
it
you.
would do. And then there's some really good violence as well. There's a great scene in a drugs barn. For reasons, there's drug dealers in a barn.
Yeah.
And there's my favourite bit is the guy gets his face sliced off,
Yes,
but he's still running around with no face.
Yes, and it looks beautiful.
Screaming.
And you got the
It is beautiful.
redneck guy like, oh my God, there's a face on there. Oh.
Yeah, and arms are getting ripped off and people are getting whacked with their own arms.
And you got the guy who's dressed up like he's in the Matrix and went, did this guy, anyone tell this guy that Matrix was in 99?
Yeah, but
Turns out he's a shapeshifter.
the film is kind of set in the 80s, but kind of not set in the
No,
80s.
kind of not.
It's very much an 80s harkening back movie, but people have got mobile phones and the technology's
computers,
all over the
yeah.
place. But it's trying to inhabit a sort of a 1980s gonzo B-movie, hell comes to Frogtown madness, which I appreciate because I like that sort of movie. I think maybe the last scene is a little underwhelming after the crazy intensity of some of the earlier scenes. The Wolfcop mobile, because he turns. So basically, he's a cop. He's a wolf.
He's a wolf
He's
Like
a
the
wolf
song.
cop.
Like the song.
And the song is great. And then he turns his patrol car into the Wolfcop mobile. And that's a really funny tooling up sequence. There is also one of the funniest sex scenes
I know.
in cinema.
When I watched this the second time, I did a little experiment. I took the sound off and I put Trey Parker's Only a Woman over it.
Yes,
it
that would
surprisingly
do.
fits.
It's because it's shot like an 80s sex scene, and there's candle. It's in a police station in the cell. There's candles everywhere. There's a woman dressed as Red Riding Hood, obviously.
Yes.
And
Going, "Oh, you look better as a wolf."
there's a wolf cop, and they get it on.
Get it on.
And
like Marvin Gaye.
it's and the soundtrack's really good. Yeah, and they have
Yeah, I
these
love the
songs,
song.
very 80s,
listened
very
to it about
synthy, bit John Carpenter.
I listened to it
at
about
times.
15 times out of it.
It is just really, really funny. Yeah, it's better than Wolf. It costs less than Jack Nicholson's hairpiece, I imagine, and it is a better movie.
I'm torn because I do love both movies, but
Yeah.
yeah, in terms of getting their intent across, it's probably this movie, even though I'm just too fascinated by Wolf's
You are.
flaws and
yeah,
positives
that's fair
to
enough.
get
I
into
think
it.
it's unashamedly just trying to entertain you. And I mean, the tagline is "Here comes the fuss," for God's sake. They have this. You see it on the Blu-ray cover here. The great poster. They got some great.
The disc
poster
cover
art.
has the Wolf Cop in the Molly Ringwald pose from
Yes.
Breakfast Club, which is cool.
They do, and there's a lot of fun and referencing with that. Directed by a guy called Lowell Dean. I don't know what else he's done other than the sequel, which I've not seen. Another Wolf Cop.
Oh yeah, well, that's original. It's
Which
like
has a
calling
great-
Stakeout called
It has
Another
a
Stakeout.
great poster that it's like the poster for Cobra, except with Wolf Cop.
I need to check that out.
And I've seen the trailer, and it does look good. But I don't know. I don't know if it'll live up to the simple, pure joy
I know,
of
it's
of
like
Wolf
lightning in a bottle. Like, how can you achieve perfection twice? as some people would
Absolutely.
say.
Yeah. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, you got a wolf cop. You've got shape-shifting lizards. You've got,
sex,
pagan
drugs,
sacrifice.
little bit of
You've got
Humpty Dumpty.
sex. You've got drugs. You've got a man screaming because his faces have been sliced off. I mean, yeah. What's not to love about this?
You got an alcoholic cop. You got all the tropes, and Ron. He goes to a library and goes,
Oh, it is very
Can you
tropey.
find me any books on cult ship or whatever?" It went,
Yeah.
and they're all looking at him going, "Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go."
And like I say, it has this really terrific transformation. And the special effects generally, the makeup effects, are surprisingly
It is.
great.
I think my only flaw with the visual look of this movie, it looks too clean, too digital.
Yeah,
I was
it
getting
is
Terrifier
digital,
flashbacks.
sometimes a bit flat. And
That's the only thing about it. I wish it was a bit
I
more.
think, and you look, you do know, you're watching it, and it is clearly a low budget movie. But they make a. They do all right with that, and like the barn explosion's pretty good considering it's a model.
I forgot it was even model, and I watched the making of it like 12 hours ago.
Yeah, so I think I think that, you know, hats off to the Wolfcop crew, because they've made a movie with no money that is more fun and more entertaining than a lot of movies made with money. Yeah, it has its flaws. Yeah, you have
it's
to like.
derivative.
Yeah, I have to like cheap jokes and violence. And I love the character of Willie.
Oh, I loved her.
He was just responding to everything. He's great.
Yeah, and he's just like a bit of an idiot. And it's like things like he forgot to record the footage of him transforming and went, you dinger.
And all credit for having a convenience store scene like any good
like
classic
RoboCop
cop movie.
I was thinking that. I was surprised the guy wasn't screaming, "Why me? Why me? Fuck me!"
One of the Dirty Harry movies, at least one of the Dirty Harry movies, but it's absolutely that RoboCop. You know, we go to the liquor store and you know, it's liquor donuts.
Yeah.
And you know, some serious ultra violence.
Bit of ultra violence.
We love a bit of the old ultra violence. Okay, look, two really interesting movies, both about wolves. But yeah, In the Company of Wolves we'll have to look at, because that is
I'm a Neil Jordan fan.
a really interesting, actually feminist movie. Not feminist in the Spice World sense, feminist in the real sense of the word, I guess. Yeah, cool. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Dan and Ross, who are behind the camera doing all the important work. And thank you to you, Keegan.
Thank you, Dr. Edwards. Toodaloo, guys.
Cheerio.